Ladies, please don't do this. And by this I mean, let a man who's in prison control you. I know there's a growing community of women who like to have a quote-unquote boyfriend who's in prison, who, are making plans to do something with them when they get out, who go to visit them and all that. But let's face it, basically what they have is a pen pal, and they're trying to make a future with that pen pal. But don't let a man who's contributing nothing to your life, who is not paying any bills, who you have to go see, who you have to put money on his books, and on top of that, like today's story, doesn't even know how to talk to you, don't let that guy tell you what to do. Let that guy handle what's going on inside. The first thing I would say to him is, look, you handle what's going on in there, and I'm going to handle what's going on out here in the world. When you get out, if you want to be a productive member of this relationship or household, we can talk then. But for now, don't you dare tell me what to do. The world is changing. We don't realize it, but we're slowly changing with it. There's technology, there's procedures, there's law, there's expenses. Somebody in prison, they're frozen in time. To them, the world is just like it was when they went in. They don't see the change that's going on, and they're not in a position to act on it. They're telling you things based on what they remember, and those things may not even apply now. That brings me to today's story. I was working in Baltimore one day, and I picked up a woman at Johns Hopkins Hospital. She was a security guard there. So I picked her up. She gets in the car, security uniform and all that. And we hit it off. As a Lyft driver or Uber driver, sometimes somebody gets in the car who their personality just blends well with your personality. They're in a mood to talk. You're in a mood to talk. You guys have something in common, maybe. Whatever the reason, you just hit it off with them. So we were talking. We hit it off. We were heading across town. Johns Hopkins is primarily although they have many locations, but the main hospital is on the east side. She lives on the west side, so I'm taking her home. But first, we have to stop and pick up her son, who's getting a haircut not far from where she lives. So we're talking. I think we were talking about the difference between DC and Baltimore. That's always a fun topic to talk to somebody from Baltimore with. So we're talking about that, and then she gets a call. So she's on the call. I make it my policy to not listen to people's call. But as I said in a previous video, you always need to know, A, what's going on in your car, and B, what you might be driving into when you arrive at the destination. So I'm kind of halfway listening, halfway not. She's talking to the person. She's like, no, I'm going to pick him up. I'm going to pick him up before I get home. And then I hear this, because the phone wasn't on speaker. I hear this, da, 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 da. And she said, no, I'm going to pick him up. He's big. People might think he's an adult. There's a lot going on in the streets. I'm going to pick him up. So the person is going on, and she's arguing with the person. So, she and I were on good enough terms where I turned back to her, and I was like, and she was like this. And then she put it on speaker, and there's a guy on the phone yelling at her. I mean, he is using all kind of names, bitch, whore. He's telling her, don't go pick that boy up. He's old enough to get his own Uber. You don't need to pick him up every day. And she's like, people don't know he's a child. And he's like, do not pick him up. And you need to stop doing that. So I was like, wow. Then she finally gets off the phone. And we start talking about it. Come to find out, this nigga is in prison 200 and something miles away. I think he's in central Pennsylvania. And he's talking to her like that. I couldn't believe it. Her name was Yvette. I said to her, Yvette, you can't do that. I mean, you got to get your arms around this situation before it gets out of control. And she said to me, I know, my family's been telling me the same thing. I said, your family's right. And she said, but y'all not the ones who have to deal with him when he gets out. I said, well, you need to make some changes and be ready for when he gets out. So I said to her, when does he get out? How much longer do he has to go? I was flabbergasted when she told me 8 years. He had already been in for 4 or 2, I think, and he had 8 more years to go. And this woman is afraid of him to the point where he's talking to her like she's a dog. And I said, Yvette, 8 years. You could have your whole life changed by that time. You could be living someplace else. You got to do whatever steps it takes to get out from under his thumb. You got to do it. The analogy or the phrase I always use with people who are in a bad situation is, this can't be it. This cannot be what was meant for you. When the Creator or God or whatever you want to call him helps people make a baby, he's like, okay, this person is going to build bridges. This person over here is going to be a construction worker. This person over here is going to be a scuba diver. This person here is going to be a captain of a ship and hopefully not hit a bridge. This person over here can be a security guard, right? And security guards are needed, right? At the hospital. What he never said and what he never will say is this person over here is going to get abused by a man who is 300 miles away and is going to talk to her like a dog. He's never going to say that. So what does that mean? That means that you allowed this situation to occur. Maybe you have a particular kind of personality, because abusers, they know how to find their victims. They know how to find people who are going to fall for the kind of things that they do. But I would suggest to you that if you are one of those people, you need to make a change. Life is nothing but a group of decades. You got 1 to 10, you're basically a baby. All right. You got 10 to 20, you're a teenager, you start to turn into a young adult. You got 20 to 30, you start working, you start maybe, looking for a mate. You got 30 to 40, you're in prime of your life, and you're really starting to make your best income, and so on and so forth. You cannot give the best 12 or 10 years of your life to somebody who doesn't respect you, who's not making any good contributions to your life, who wants to talk to you like you're a dog, who expects you to come see him in prison, which is not fun, I've done it, who expects you to put money on his books, who wants to yell at you about your own child. Get this, it's not even his kid. The kid has a different father. He's yelling at her about what to do with her son. Let that sink in for a second. I would have told him, this is not your child. Don't tell me what to do with my child. If we had a child together, it'd be one thing, but you're not going to tell me what to do with my child from another relationship. The next thing is, he's telling her how to spend her money. Meanwhile, he needs her to come give him money. Okay, so I can come and put money on your books, but I can't pick my son up from getting a haircut. And the worst of all is the way he was talking to her. He obviously had no respect for her. As a man, and who knows, maybe I'm breaking guy code right here, but I'm going to tell you, ladies, do not put up with it. Do not get yourself in this situation. And if you do, get yourself out as quickly as possible. I told her, I said, break up with his ass now. Then he has 8 years to get used to the fact that he doesn't have you. For all you know, he has 3 people just like you. Then he'll just go and deal with the other 2. If you break up with him with 8 years left to go on his sentence, how mad can he be after 8 years have elapsed? You think he's going to come out of prison and go looking for you, somebody who broke up with his ass 8 years ago? No. Now is the time to do it. Now is the time to block him. Now is the time to stop accepting his calls. Now is the time to tell him that he can't tell you what to do with your own child. Now is the time to get bold with him. He cannot get out and come do anything to you, and he won't be able to for the next 8 years. you got to make it, you got to do it now. The next thing I'm going to say to ladies in this situation is, do you think a man is going to come out of prison after 12 years and be faithful to you? Let's be real. I'm a man. When you're in a situation where there are no women available to you, you have crazy fantasies. They thinking about tall women, short women, fat women, skinny women, women of every race. You think they're coming out to have sex with one woman for the rest of their life? They're not. They're going to cheat on you with other women and maybe with men. So this fantasy that you have, or that you're letting him talk you into, is for the most part unrealistic, right? So get yourself out of it now. You deserve better. There's more ways than ever to meet people. You got dating sites, you got social media. Get yourself somebody who is on your level. Hey, listen, if he loved you, he wouldn't have committed a crime in the first place. In this particular instance, I think he was in for armed robbery. And if he really loved you, if he really cared about your son, he wouldn't have done that. Because a real man would go out and get a job, even if it's not the greatest job at first, and contribute to the household. That's what a real man does. And has respect for his lady and for his situation, especially if he knows she's not going to be able to afford everything without his income. Oh yeah, that's what a real man does. A real man who takes responsibility for his family is not going to go out and rob somebody. I don't care how bad you need the money. So I said to her, and I think she took it to heart, because she said that her family had been telling her the same thing. She said even some of her own family members have stopped talking to her because of it. So hopefully that combined with what I was telling her, because I tried to give her some good reasons. Her family just says don't do it, but I tried to give her some good reasons why not to do it. Hopefully that sunk in a little bit, and if she didn't do it right away, hopefully she will do it before too much time passes. Ladies, you deserve better. This kind of thing will only stop when women stop accepting it. As long as women accept stuff like this, then the guys have no incentive to change. You deserve better, especially in the prime of your life. She was, I would estimate, mid to late 30s. Okay, so she had already given him 2 years. So you're going to end up giving him from 36 to 46. You're going to give him that? That really, truly is the prime of your life. Maybe not physically, but as far as what you can accomplish, you know, your earning power, your freedom, you know, your kids are almost grown at that time. That really is the prime of your life. Don't let him do it.